Hey, you guys, it's the finale. We're here, the final chapter, and we need to know, will Ahsoka save a galaxy even further away? Or maybe it's closer? Will Thrawn escape? What is Balin doing? All this and so much more. Let's hit the intro. Hey, everybody, it's my wife, Jessi. Jessi!
Hello.
Thank you for joining me for a third time, as we will be discussing some more Tano, some talking Tano. It's not discussing, that's not alliterative.
Glad to be here again. Much like last week, we haven't really talked Tano a whole lot until now.
Yeah, I have this really bad habit that if I talk about it, by the time I record this, I will be like, whatever. I mean, I already talked about it, so I have to keep my thoughts inside.
But I know you've been trying to avoid reading other people's thoughts on the internet so that they alter your initial feelings about the episode, which is cool.
And of course, when we discuss this, there will be spoilers. Yes! So, before we get into the images, I know we already did this once, but what were your thoughts on the episode?
I thought this was a big episode. A lot of things happened, tied up some loose ends, but left the door open for hopefully more.
Oh, absolutely. If we don't get another season or something, I may just, lose my mind.
Yeah, I will go to my grave then wondering, does Ahsoka and Sabine, do they ever get out of that galaxy and get back to antics with the rest of their friends?
Only time will tell. So,
yes.
Let's get to the episode. So, it seems like we have some dogs playing with some toys there.
Sure do. Maybe at the end of the episode, if they're really good, I will hold each of them up for your fans to meet the family.
One of them may be tricky.
I will use all of my leftover strength from the end of the day.
So, of course, we kick the episode off with being rewarded for all her help. Morgan Elsbeth gets a literal glow up.
Yes, she has finally become the mother she's always wanted to be.
That's right. And she gets the makeover to match her new position. And a gift. Unlocking the power of night. She's gifted the sword or blade, I can't remember, of Towson.
Yes, it was creepy. It was, to me, unlike anything else we've seen in Star Wars or that I've seen in Star Wars so far. We've had some kind of weird kind of body horror things happen to folks throughout all of the movies. But this one just, to me, was so kind of out there, and not in a bad way. It was new, it was different, it was kind of creepy, and like I believe I've told you, the eyes turning black was very reminiscent of the preacher in Carnival. Nothing else was really, but other than maybe it signaled some evil.
Oh, absolutely. And a quick note for the nerds at home, and I know I explained this to you earlier, Towson is the name of the mother of the Night Sisters of Dathomir in the Clone Wars. So we get some nice, references. Synergy. Of course, then, Ezra and Hu Yang do a little bit of bonding over some lightsaber construction.
Yeah, and we get our classic Hu Yang kind of bantering back and forth, and really more shades of the younger Ezra that we knew from Rebels. So this was kind of a fun scene, and of course, we have our callbacks to Kanan.
Oh, absolutely. Especially because Hu Yang gives him the duplicate emitter to Kanan's lightsaber.
Yeah, I think that was really, it was a cool moment. And we'll have a couple more of those, in my opinion, throughout the rest of the episode. But it was kind of that wink to Kanan wherever he is.
Absolutely. Who's choking?
Daisy.
Daisy? Okay. Of course, Sabine gets a moment to apologize for her actions to Ahsoka. They're on the wing of their ship. And of course, Ahsoka's like, I've made some questionable decisions of my own.
Yeah, it still feels a little bit strained here, but we see them both trying.
Oh, absolutely. And Ahsoka makes the promise to stand by Sabine no matter what, just like her master did for her. Ish.
Yeah, her visits with Force Ghost Anakin, I think, have really kind of inspired her to be not just a leader, she's been a leader, but to really take Sabine more under her wing and be some forgiving and nurturing, more so than just kind of that master driving her training only.
Oh, absolutely. And, quickly they're attacked by some X-Wings sent by Thrawn. And, Ahsoka does have a question for Ezra, which is, do you lift, bro?
Turns out he does lift.
This was just kind of a fun, neat way to show them using their powers that I don't think we see a lot of in live action Star Wars.
No, I think more of what we see is the push.
The push. I mean, Luke did lift the X-Wing, but it's fun to see it moving in real time and them trying to save people.
Yeah. And again, I think, this is some more Filoni calling back to the animated style and being able to find a way to do some things in live action, with some practical effects. And then again, of course, some special effects, but trying to bring that same kind of feeling to the live action that we had in our animated series.
And of course, Sabine had to get the ship out of there to save anybody, so she does it with absolute style.
Yeah. She's got a little bit of the efforts there, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I made it happen. We'll figure out what's next. Get off my back.
That was 10 minutes ago problems. This is now problems.
This is very much teenager attitude, and I'm here for it.
But of course, they're like, it's cool. We can ride.
We'll ride our wolf, dog, horse, bats.
Batwolf returns.
Yes. This is funny. I feel like right here Ahsoka's telling her Apple Watch something.
Right. I think she's actually like, Hu Yang, we'll be back.
I agree, yeah, but she's having Siri do it for her.
Right. Now, of course, Thrawn is prepared for this and prepares a ground assault with some volunteers, a little bit of a battery raining down on them.
Yeah, quite a bit. I think that Thrawn has shown that he is the Bobby Fischer of intergalactic chess war. He is always kind of reading ahead what they're going to do and ready to watch it, learn from it, and then plan the next piece. Again, playing that long game.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, we skipped it in the images, but he had a small platoon of soldiers ready to be potentially left behind, let bad things happen. They knew the cost of what it would mean to try to slow down our Jedi.
Yeah, more tape troopers.
More tape troopers, who, of course, are ready for our heroes on the inside.
They are, and this was kind of an epic little battle. It was fun to watch. There's a little celebration at the end, which I loved. But lots of action here from all three of our heroes. I did like where Ahsoka notices Sabine taking a couple of hits because she's missing them with the lightsaber. She's still early on in her training, and so she plays on Sabine's strengths and tells her blasters. So Sabine puts her lightsaber away and pulls out the blasters and just kind of makes work of it, taking care of the tape troopers.
Right. And, we, of course, Ezra's new lightsaber is blue instead of green, and I think it's just ultimately so we could have 3 different colors in this scene.
Yes,
It looks cooler that way.
it definitely does.
But
and
of course,
it's a new year, new him.
New year, new him. And of course, Ahsoka puts them down. But some help.
Love this shot. Yeah, oh yeah. But I love this shot. I think I told you as we watched it, like, oh my God, this image, you have to use it this week because it's pretty epic. But what happens?
Oh, man. Well, we get a little bit of magic.
A little bit of magic.
And they get better.
Yeah, this becomes a real Walking Dead situation, and no one was prepared for it.
Oh, absolutely not. And so they have to try to race their way through the fortress while being chased by literal zombies.
And even these zombies, no matter what damage they took, would just get right back up.
Right. It was not good. And in the meantime, of course, they start docking the destroyer to the Eye of Sion.
Yes. Clamping it in.
Of course, Thrawn realizes pretty quick that the undead troopers aren't enough and asks Morgan Elsbeth to stay behind to be one more way of slowing down our heroes. And so we get a rematch between the two from The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Some magic sword v lightsaber.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in a lot of ways, you would almost think that the advantage here would be Ahsoka's, but it's a big challenge for her.
Yeah, Morgan puts up quite the fight. And we've seen that. Really, I feel like every time we've seen Ahsoka lightsaber battle with somebody in this series, she's at least for a while pretty evenly matched. It's not just, she doesn't just make work of it and go in and destroy people that she's fighting. She's got to work for it.
Oh, absolutely. Meanwhile, while the battles get going, Thrawn makes his way onto the Eye of Sion with the Great Mothers. You know, he's got to have his entourage.
Yeah, and they're about to tell Morgan Elsbeth, peace out.
Yeah, good luck with that. And of course, you know, Sabine and Ezra are chasing him up where they're met by 2 more night troopers. And boy, they are gooey dead under that armor.
Yeah, it's like I said, this is really The Walking Dead. But they keep coming for him.
Right. So it makes me think that at least some of the troopers have been dead for a while and reanimated.
I would agree. You know, they've been scraping by on this world, just trying to prepare and make use of what they have with limited resources, and they found a way through this black magic to really stretch their resources.
So of course we don't
starting to show and or smell.
Sure, we never got definitive answers in this season or series, depending on how it works out, about the nature of Enoch and his gold-faced stormtrooper outfit. But it does kind of make me wonder again about it kind of playing into the idea of like the Pharaoh masks, like maybe he's an undead like leader from the planet.
Yeah, because he really isn't like anything else we've ever seen before. And since he was first introduced early on, it's been kind of this question mark, like he's creepy, but why is he like that?
Right. And that's a mystery for another day, unfortunately.
Hopefully.
Oh, absolutely, hopefully. But Sabine does it. She uses the Force. She unlocks it.
She does. She believes in it. She believes in herself, and we see how much easier that gets when we believe in ourselves, kids.
Right. I mean, it helps when an undead zombie trooper is choking you out and you have to grab it.
Yeah, that life and death really makes people reach.
Absolutely. Of course, she lightsabers his head. Beautiful moment.
Love it.
I can't remember if it's her. Ezra chops off the head of the other trooper. You know, that's one way to deal with the zombies. You just remove the head. Damage the brain, right. Remove the head. But she's pretty confident now, and they decide to do it like Kanan and just force push Ahsoka, or not Ahsoka, Ezra off the platform towards the departing Star Destroyer.
I love this callback. Like I said earlier in the episode, we're going to get some callbacks, and specifically to Kanan. And I was really happy when they did this, and it worked because it was something that stood out to me from Rebels was the two Jedi really enjoyed doing this. It was fun, and it always worked for them. And so to see, Sabine had been watching it happen, so to see her take on that pushing role. And at work was awesome. I was really excited.
Oh, absolutely. But of course, we see that Ahsoka's struggling, but it looks like Sabine's running back to make her jump.
Yes.
And of course, Ahsoka's like, do it, go, I got this. But, Sabine had other plans and stays behind to help her master.
Yeah, that loyalty shines through.
And it just speaks to the relationship of the master and the apprentice, or the Padawan in this case. Apprentices are for Sith. Jedi have a Padawan.
Absolutely, and it shows the growth through the season. There was a lot of that kind of uneasiness and mistrust, and even like I said, we see some of that early in this episode really playing out and kind of developing more. And, like I said, we're going to get some of these bows kind of wrapped nice and tight at the end of this episode. And I think this is one of them.
And of course, that means it's the final showdown between Morgan and Ahsoka, and she goes down hamburger style in this very Sabine cut you in that half moment.
Yes, she absolutely folds her in half hamburger style.
Right, and gets her with her own sword, which is why I think we get the green glow from the wound.
Yeah, and this was a pretty awesome moment too. I think that she was introduced really to, at least to me, during this series, and she was obviously striving for more and to be great, and she played her part here, but she was really just a pawn for Thrawn, and we get to tell her goodbye right here.
Absolutely. So, of course, Ezra's up on the ship, overhears that they're sending back up to his location, and he thinks, I could probably use a suit of armor. Old habits die hard for Ezra Bridger.
Yes. Why not put on a disguise and call back to old times?
Right. Even though I feel like they might notice the corpse there. He must have hid the corpse, right?
I wish he would have said something about the way they smell on the inside, though.
Right. It's a perfect moment. Now, of course, Sabine and there was so much action here I didn't take a picture of. Sabine and Ahsoka are on top of the fortress as it's being bombarded and it's blowing up. They jump and they land on the ship that's been repaired, and they chase Thrawn through the stars as they banter back and forth, Thrawn and Ahsoka. Thrawn may be teasing Ahsoka, going, maybe you're supposed to be on this side like your master.
Yeah, and again, another callback. We've heard that before from our bad guys, right? Trying to entice Jedi over to the dark side.
But of course, Ahsoka will always remember this as the day she almost captured Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yes. Yeah, we see the eye of the ship jump forward into hyperspace, and Sabine and Ahsoka get tossed around a little bit in their wake. I like to say that's how Goose died. But they recover, yet don't make the jump.
Don't make the jump. They don't really have the means to make the jump at this point.
No.
So they stay. They hang out with the shell rock turtle people.
What were they called? I had it written down. The Noti.
The Noti. And of course, they're visited by an old friend, a little bit obscured almost by my head, is Mirai, the conover that symbolizes the daughter and seems to follow Ahsoka around, even though this is the first time we see Mirai in the series.
But again, what does that mean? There's another door open for later, hopefully.
Oh, so much foreshadowing. And of course, Shin goes back to our dollar store samurai people, raises her blade, because she didn't want them to forget about her.
No. Love your reference.
I'm full of them tonight. It's just kind of who I am. But we gotta know what Balin's doing, and apparently he's hanging out on a giant rock formation that looks just like the father.
Yeah, what an epic final scene for him.
Right. And of course we pan out and we see the son to the side, and where the daughter should be completely blown up from the head up. Now, is this a reflection of you having to hear me talk about the Clone Wars and the daughter dying, or is this a reflection of this planet being so powerful in the dark side? Questions.
Big questions.
Now, of course, I apparently don't have the image for some reason. The Eye of Sion arrives outside of a red planet that is, of course, Dathomir, which was our galaxy's home world for the Night Sisters, and we pan across a room full of boxes. Are these corpses? Are we about to get an army of undead stormtroopers?
I mean, it appears so based on previous events, right? I don't know what else it could be that they've packed up and brought with them.
And of course, a very beat up looking Imperial shuttle arrives at a Republic. I don't want to say battleship. It's not a battleship. They don't battle. Base.
Yeah.
And out steps a stormtrooper who, of course, is Ezra. And he gets to be reunited with Chopper and Hera.
Yeah, I liked the Chopper moment because he didn't take his helmet off yet. Chopper's checking him out, beeping, probably cursing under his breath while he just kind of pet him.
Right.
And I think that Hera probably was like, wait a minute, who could that be? And then, of course, he reveals by taking off his helmet.
Well, of course. And Chopper wasn't super aggressive, which isn't very Choppery. So
yeah,
he probably
I think that Chopper, as much as a droid can be, was in disbelief as well.
Right. And of course, I personally have to believe that this means that Ezra will take Jason on as a Padawan.
It has to, right?
But of course, we go back to a galaxy further away one last time as Ahsoka and Sabine look out on the night sky. And for a moment, maybe Sabine glimpses what was really there. Ghost Anakin.
I know that was kind of a nice touch. I think that's really Sabine becoming fully aware of the Force.
Right. She has taken a much bigger step into her Jedi journey.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. I think we've done a thing that I hated about the prequels, which is we killed the midichlorians. Anybody can be a Jedi, even if you're not gifted.
Absolutely. And I love that too. And it goes back to kind of the heart of Star Wars, starting in the 70s and the 80s. Why did we love it so much? Because before midichlorians, we could see ourselves in those roles. But then all of a sudden, we get the prequels telling us that only certain people are born able to become Jedis and experience the Force, therefore separating people out by, you're just predestined to be awesome or just a peasant. But now we can see ourselves again. Hopefully kids these days can now see themselves as becoming the hero, making the choices, training and becoming that hero.
I mean, after all, Luke Skywalker, when we meet him, is just a farm boy on a backworld planet.
Yeah, he wants to become a stormtrooper.
Well, he just wants to get off the planet.
Yeah, that's his ticket out, is joining the army.
Oh boy. I hope that's just a horf and not a vomit up there.
Just a horf.
Just the
elderly dog.
Of course. Yeah, so that was the season. And 8 episodes was not enough. I need probably 80.
Absolutely. And, for me, it's kind of a comfort thing. Star Wars is a comfort property, comfort entertainment. And as we go into winter, it's something that I'm like, well, we've got a lot of rewatching to do, because that's kind of my memories being home from school on a snow day and just binging some Star Wars. So we'll probably watch it again this winter. However, I wish we had another 8 episodes to dive into, but fingers crossed we're going to get those.
Right. I assume we won't hear anything until maybe the SAG-AFTRA strike is over.
Yeah, I don't think, even if it is back there cooking somewhere, just out of respect, we're not gonna hear anything from the powers that be until everything's been resolved and people are getting their dues.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Jess, thank you so much for joining me yet another week. I don't know if you want to introduce your guests up there.
My guests tonight are Jonah Pipple Corgi. He's the bestest boy. And then we've got Edward. She's being a little wild right now with her bone. Edward is half Corgi, heart healer, and probably some sort of terrier. I'm guessing Westie. She's our young one. She's a little bit of a wild girl right now. And then our final guest is Daisy, the elderly beagle. Nope, she does not. She's not here for it tonight.
No, not at all.
But from our family to yours, may the force be with you.
Absolutely. I'm going to kick it solo for just 1 second. We'll wrap this up, and I will be upstairs before you know it.
All right, I will see you soon.
Absolutely. Well, guys, this is the end of Talking Tano for now. I want to thank every guest I've had. Brick Something, Aaron from Payne's Toy Samples, my coworker Rick, Allison Troy, of course my wife for being part of this. I talk about it a lot. This was actually really about kind of helping my mental health and just sharing something I love. So if you stuck with me, thank you. If not, maybe next time. You won't see this, so you'll never know what happened. If you haven't already, could you subscribe to my channel? That'd be great. Comment below. Like the video. If not, that's cool too. Also, quickly, I want to say, best thoughts and positive vibes to Kayla Silva and her mother, who are going through some tough times right now. And, she does a great show over Geek the F Out. I've been over there talking about Ahsoka. Tomorrow they're talking about the finale with highly articulated Adam. And of course, Brick Something. That's going to be a great conversation. There will be a link to that channel at the end of this video. And so please check them out. Make sure to give them positive vibes. Thank you, guys. Let yourself shine. Love you. Gotta find my button.